hard to believe that HeRoMaRiNE is actually, about to seal the deal, to actually make it out into the next stage of IEM Katowice. But here we are. It's very possible. In the bottom right of Deathor for Game 1, we do have the man for Mouse Esports. He is HeRoMaRiNE.
And his opponent in the top left side of the map, the red Terran player. A fan of good games and representing good game gaming, it is Dream.
Giving us some of the best PvT that we've seen. He did it last time. He faced off against Estrella in the War Chest Team League, which was really, really cool. And they just continue to be evenly matched against each other, I suppose. But now he's going to show us his TVT, which he did already prove adept at in the bracket portion of this tournament in the weekends, right? Up against the likes of Beyond and all them. So Dream is feeling confident, said so in his interview. And as well he should. The Korean Terrans, right? It's a phrase, right? And because it's Korean Terrans is a phrase, their TVT is usually very well practiced, constantly fighting against each other, the world's best Terrans coming into that region. Whereas for HeRoMaRiNE, well, I think his TVT is actually quite good, and he is getting some better practice, especially with Clem constantly battling him in those open weekly cups. But, it's always been one of the weaknesses of the region, is that they don't have as many top-tier Terrans providing that TVT practice.
Absolutely. Career is much like Sparta was to, ancient warriors, right? You have to go out and fight a wolf when you become like 11 years old or something like that. You've got to learn how to split your Marines in Marine Split Challenge in the arcade for 6 hours every day. And by the time you're like 17, 18, 19 and an established pro gamer, you're really, really good at StarCraft. You've got so much experience in this matchup. And yeah, Dream took down Beyond in the open bracket stage. He had some really good matches throughout, and he is just such a beast. So definitely a big match here as HeRoMaRiNE comes in SCV, hoping to land a hit on that Reaper and allowing him to win the Reaper battle. But he's going to try and get that SCV. Did he? Ooh, okay, he's one shot ahead, but the other Reaper's about to pop out. And if that second Reaper pops out, this could turn very bad for HeRoMaRiNE.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. HeRoMaRiNE overstaying his welcome. It is not uncommon in TVT and not at all to open up with a second Reaper. So he just played with fire there and lost out. So now he has to play a little more defensive, and as well he should. He is going for one of the quickest third CCs I've ever seen in TVT. TVZ, 3CC, super common. TVP, we see it, coming in. TVT, you're usually waiting until after you get a starport. So this is some greed by HeRoMaRiNE.
Yeah, this is one of those things that's really nice to mix in once in a while. Best of 5, best of 7, sure. Best of 3, ooh, dicey. It's definitely something you've got to be comfortable with, a little bit of risk in your play. And if he gets away with it, it'll be, of course, a fantastic setup for HeRoMaRiNE. But that is a big if. As 2 Reapers and a Hellion come across the map now, Dream's going to poke around. I like that HeRoMaRiNE is dropping mules on the high ground. Hasn't got any super exposed targets down here.
Oh, and doing all right. Pushing this back, is forced to pull some of the SCVs. Gets one of the Reapers down, and as his Reaper comes forward, unfortunately too weak to actually take it out. Things are actually turning a little bit around on HeRoMaRiNE. I was like, the SCVs are gone. I'm surprised he's being so aggressive, but he thought he could do it. He doesn't do it, loses the Hellion. And this is such an awkward scenario. This is actually the damage that HeRoMaRiNE did not want to take. He's not going to lose the game. And thanks to that third CC, he's going to be able to replace the SCVs, but this is so much more than he was supposed to actually have to handle. This is doing so much more damage.
Oh, that Reaper. No, don't pull into it. Don't pull into the Hellions. Oh. Ow, big splash damage going down there. And it feels like HeRoMaRiNE, that early Reaper mistake has set him down a path where he needed to be extra safe, extra conservative, yet no bunker at home. No extra preparation. I really feel if he just pulled up that ramp, he would have been okay. But he's trying to chase down the Hellion Reaper, a big overstep, and it's the second overstep of the game. Sometimes you have a day where you take these high-risk maneuvers and they all pay off, and then another day, it just doesn't. And you look at it afterwards, you look at the replay and you go, what was I thinking? How did I ever think, chasing in with that Reaper up the ramp was a good idea? How did I ever think chasing the Reaper Hellion down was a good idea? HeRoMaRiNE now, he's far behind. He's got the third CC finished, but he's down in workers, and he's just kind of stuck in defense mode.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll survive the next phase of TVT, the Raven tank push. One of them, usually does it, but he's supposed to have an even bigger lead than whatever he comes out of here with, which is just a disadvantage straight up. His third CC is going to be lifted over kind of around the time that Dreams finishes as an orbital, so it's really not that far ahead, and he does have to use it to bring up the SCV count once again. Not to mention just put so many more SCVs, the minerals going into the SCVs, as opposed to something important, but perhaps more barracks or double engineering bays, which Dream is actually already going to, actually foregoing his own production a little bit more to grab those engineering bays. But he is also doing the push off to the left side. HeRoMaRinE does have a little bit of a scout there, so he'll be able to react, hopefully appropriately. Yep, perfectly timed Marine to see that engagement coming forward.
Tank does siege on the natural. Raven is about to pop out. Second Raven, in fact, of course, a very useful unit for defending these early pushes, but I don't think Dream is really dead set on trading here. He's just looking to exert pressure, keep his opponent scared, and see if he can find any pickoffs. So as long as he doesn't siege up, he's not going to present a target for interference matrix. There's no real way for HeRoMaRinE to run this army down, so just a bit of light pressure out of Dream so far.
And it's great that HeRoMaRinE doesn't really struggle against the push, but he is still behind on everything else in the production tab. Even a little bit behind on the barracks production, certainly a lot behind on the stim and 1-1. So as the Marine count grows, HeRoMaRinE's Marines are just going to be inferior. He's going to have to, really depend on tanks. But he's on one of the best maps to do that. Death Aura, a very large map, the largest we have, and also some very defensible areas around your third, even your fourth. So HeRoMaRinE can definitely bring this back, but it's in one of those uncomfortable situations where you're constantly the defender, and your opponent has all the room to wiggle around and actually find something, which he might have found something here. He's going for a double interference matrix on those tanks, trying to actually take out HeRoMaRinE's Ravens. They managed to slap down a couple of auto turrets, and maybe that'll be enough to stop the attack for now. But Dream refocuses on top of those tanks, takes the forward one out, leaving HeRoMaRinE with just 2 tanks left over. Again, should be enough, but it's these types of things that's really scary for HeRoMaRinE.
Yeah, that's very narrowly a hold, but even as it is, Dream has control over the top of the ramp. He can inch those tanks forward. Marines accidentally get walked forward into the siege tank. The Vikings trading out there with Dream still having control of the skies. And it's looking more and more like that third command center may have to lift off. HeRoMaRinE going to keep mining there and just repair it for now. HeRoMaRinE definitely a player who's most at home playing a front-on style. He likes defending and building up to one big push. He's got some ability to weather a few hits here and there, but I don't know, this just does not look like a breakable situation for him. Maybe that's the moment these next 2 Vikings pop out, he tries to take the Viking battle?
I think it's what he's planning on doing. TVT can be kind of awkward like that. Your opponent's reinforcements coming out slower than yours when you're defending, so maybe you can jump on top. But actually, as he unsieges his tanks, he still loses the one on the front lines. Scans are going down to really try and size up each other. If HeRoMaRinE sees not a whole lot there, maybe he tries to break it. If Dream doesn't see a whole lot, he maybe anticipates the break and knows that there must be some other army somewhere else. But he is still hammering away at the third CC. More SCVs have to be pulled to ensure that it doesn't die. It's going to have to be lifted, and it is safe lifting, but it's not mining. So Dream just continues to get ahead.
Marines ready for a little bit of a flank on the left, but HeRoMaRinE knows he doesn't have the numbers to break this. Dream builds a 4th base on location. His 2-2 starts up. More bio and tanks on the way. And look at that. Interference matrix comes down. Dream picks the air battle, initiates and gets a fantastic trade. His siege tanks now can once again move forward, and HeRoMaRinE here is just stuck in between a tank and a hard place. It's not a good place to be as a Terran player, but he hopes that he can just kind of hang on, recover, and he's going to try and just be ready at every turn. As long as he's got his siege tank sieged, it's going to be difficult for Dream to actually turn this advantage into a finishing blow. HeRoMaRinE will hope to survive to max out and maybe somehow hang on at that stage of the game.
Exactly. Looking towards that maxed out scenario where your bank is lower, your upgrades are lower, but at least you have the equal army supply to do something. HeRoMaRinE actually playing a bit of a risk here because he has to move a lot of his army off the left side. A quick scan ahead is going to see a gigantic army left over for Dream. And even with the anti-armor missile, HeRoMaRinE is forced to disengage. The little run by not going to work out. Not even really bother Dream, honestly. Didn't even distract him.
And that is the only factory of HeRoMaRinE, and it is burning right now. Siege tanks shelling on it and the barracks. The Vikings there still control the skies for Dream. And HeRoMaRinE just unable to keep pace there with the Korean Terran. His aggression finding the mark. A greedy opening for game one. You said very risky for this matchup. Well, the risk didn't pay off this time, Zombie Grub.
No, it did not. And I mean, even more importantly is that even without the third CC, right? Like losing that type of battle in the early game with the Reapers and the Hellions is actually sometimes catastrophic, even when you're doing the exact same build as your opponents. And maybe your Cyclone's a little bit faster and trying to help you recover, but it still starts off the game with your opponent being in a very comfortable lead in a situation where they feel really powerful after taking down your units with superior micro. It just puts them in an excellent position. And I think HeRoMaRinE is definitely the type of player who's going to look at that and be like, well, I lost from literally 1.5 minutes in this game. That's when I lost, and that's stupid of me, but you know, it happens, and hopefully you can shake it off and get into game number 2 with a fresh mind.
Yeah, it's often these big tournaments, right, where you have something go wrong, and the championship quality is the ability to completely shift modes and roll with the punches, and it's a very hard state to get in mentally, to stay relaxed enough to kind of have this incredibly detailed build order, this game plan that you want to follow, but also to just be relaxed enough to make the adaptations on the way that are needed. For HeRoMaRinE in that case, it was just don't pull the SCVs off the low ground, you know, just sit on top of your ramp, don't try to chase this down. But he didn't make that adaptation. So it wasn't just the Reaper and the SCV that went down. It was also then losing the next few units and about 9 SCVs, and everything started to pile up from there. And I think from there was no big misplays from HeRoMaRinE, right? It just felt like Dream had a few more units. I guess arguably HeRoMaRinE could have done a little bit of a better job of tracking the army for that first siege up on the third base, but it's a really tough position once you're that far behind.
Yeah, it's the only thing I was going to say, that maybe if his tank's been a little more in front of his third command center, it doesn't quite like dig in as much for Dream. But, you know, otherwise you're right. Like it was perfect play, what you should be doing in that scenario to the best of your ability when you're already behind. But I do want to give some props to HeRoMaRinE's, I guess, just build order choice. Death Aura being the largest map, it's unlikely that Dream is going to commit to something more like a 3 Reaper, you know, multiple Hellion opener, which, you know, really goes aggressive and really wants to punish HeRoMaRinE. And HeRoMaRinE's like, nah, if I have 2 Reapers and a Hellion, it'll be the same exact thing that he has. Which is true, he just lost the Reaper and then lost the battle afterwards. So it was a, you know, kind of a nice plan to start things off. Sometimes people like to start off a best of 3 being extremely aggressive. HeRoMaRinE was kind of doing the opposite, trying to start off by being very, very greedy. Just absolutely did not work out. So perhaps more down to the basic 2-base opener here from here on out. As we move on to Lightshade in game 2, these players are still thinking about even the map scores. They want to make sure to get at least a map off their opponent. And in the bottom right, down 1, hoping to get that map back, he is HeRoMaRinE.
And of course, his opponent up here in the top left-hand side of the map, a very decisive game 1 victory. He is beginning the comeback trail. Can he follow it to its fruition? It's Dream.
So odd to be talking about Dream's comeback, not because we expected Dream to be in the top 3 automatically, but because the guy we thought would be making the comeback, down at number 6 right now in Group C, the last guy is Trap. You know, we think we'd be talking about that guy's potential road home, but it's not looking so hot. Whereas Dream, good to his name, actually still has a dream. It starts by 2-0ing HeRoMaRinE, which he said he felt confident about doing. He so far looked very confident in the actual game. We do move on to a map that's almost the complete opposite of Death Aura. It's much shorter. Does it actually favor anyone? I don't know about that one, but it should result in a bit of a different story here. Certainly not a fast 3cc from HeRoMaRinE again.
Going to be the Reapers almost perfectly timed out. Everything mirrored so far as the players wall off their bases and move forward to the next step. Of course, HeRoMaRinE did send that SCV scout over for the safety, sees the wall off and promptly returns home. Both players getting their factory down. Dream with a little more gas mining here. HeRoMaRinE should be able to afford a slightly quicker command center as he's pulled 1 extra worker off gas, whereas Dream, after his command center, is going to be able to drop his starport a lot faster.
It's something they'll be keeping tabs on as much as they can. The CC timings. Rain does pull it back. You see setting up that CC right now. Dream actually still ended up being a little bit faster, actually. Just by like a millisecond.
That's what an SCV scout costs. Like what, 50 minerals or something? I feel like it should be more than that, but I guess when you've done these build orders, it's always funny, you know, there's always a new player who's like, hey, how much does that cost you when you scout with the SCV? And it's always like, does anyone actually know? I know somebody's done the maths, I'm sure, but really depends how long you hang around, the distance on the map, and a whole lot of other variables.
Right, yeah. Like the answer is like, it doesn't matter for you, but for the pros, someone out there definitely has the math done for certain. I mean, if people are mapping out, you know, +1, +2 Carapace and Muta Wars, or what else has been mathed out? Oh, whether to Maynard, right, to transfer your workers. I'm trying to think of one thing that was mathed out recently. Oh, the extractor trick. That's what it was. People got pretty quick to determining if the extractor trick was worth it.
Oh, this is about to heat up, Zombie Grub, because that's Reactor Reaper production for Dream, but he runs into the tall grass. Oh my god, HeRoMaRinE bounces him in. He says, it's time to party with me in the tall grass, mate. And dude, he lost like 1 Reaper for like 4 Reapers and 2 Hellions. That was an insanely good trade for Big Gabe.
How that was so absolutely perfect. You could not do that if you tried. If you told Dream to do the exact same thing, as like, I'm going to bop you that direction, there's no way to even replicate itself. That was absolutely insane. HeRoMaRinE now taking a very strong start in this game, really getting some revenge for the last one. Is going to, you know, be cautious about moving up here. The Reapers could jump up without the Hellions, but he doesn't want to do that. Now actually just pestering the supply depot, which is already under half health. And could actually go down. Yeah, Dream's forced to pull SCVs. His Cyclone finally pops, though, and that will push HeRoMaRinE away.
Nice damage, though, because Dream was the one who actually committed more to the Reaper Hellion than HeRoMaRinE, and yet he's the one who ends up losing out on the trade. So a fantastic advantage for HeRoMaRinE, where I remember I was saying, oh, there's more gas for Dream. He's going to use that to build a starport faster. No, he was actually just using that to build more Reapers. Ended up with a very similar starport timing. Now, this is going to get weird, though, because that medevac adds a lot of micro ability here. HeRoMaRinE's got to be really careful.
Yeah, wants to target on the medevac if possible, but already getting his own Cyclone locked on by Dream. So that Cyclone of HeRoMaRinE does go down. Only 2 Reapers and a Hellion left over, and Dream even microing his SCVs while he can. The last Hellion of HeRoMaRinE falls. Now, Dream took 5 SCVs worth of damage after already being down a couple, so now in total down 8. HeRoMaRinE's army supply is the only thing that is worrisome after an attack like that, but because it was mostly the units from the early game, the ones that you eventually get rid of anyways, it seems like it could be okay. The Cyclone absolutely still could be useful, but hopefully the tanks that HeRoMaRinE have will do the trick alongside the Ravens, plural, he will have in just a second.
Yeah, those auto turrets might need to be dropped out. The medevac, the Cyclone, the tanks coming forward. HeRoMaRinE realizing that that ledge is a dangerous area, but I think he's sieged up in time. Interference matrix goes down. Beautiful D.
Brutal for Dream. I mean, it could have been worse, right? But the tank perfectly interference matrix. HeRoMaRinE's tank on the high ground. Well played by HeRoMaRinE. And if you know, this game is going to look like the last one, where HeRoMaRinE just continues with his lead, plays a solid TVT. Yeah, Dream's the one that's going to be constantly on defense, making those very risky decisions to try and come back, because he has to. He's behind in Stim, he's behind in 3rd CC, he's still behind in those SCVs. Just trying to get a Raven in here for a couple of SCVs worth of harassment, maybe.
That's nice. That's going to be something. 1 SCV, 2 SCVs, then mining time, so not bad there for Dream. Finds a little something to get himself back in this, but 2nd and 3rd barracks, engineering base. They haven't even started for Dream, and they're already finishing up for HeRoMaRinE, and that's a big advantage. And now the Raven hangs around, a greedy Raven. Dream desperate to find more damage. He'll be able to drop an auto turret, but that's a one-way trip.
Exactly the type of risk he was hoping would reward him for a little bit longer. Gets 4, maybe 5, just shy of 5 SCVs. So 4 for a Raven. No, that's actually not what you want. And the other Raven is like, you know what? That's a bad idea. Never mind about that one. Never mind. Cyclone tries to get a lock on for an extended period of time. Does not find that tank. That would have been extremely helpful for Dream's defense, as he is now the one hoping to have his tanks in the right position at the right time. But HeRoMaRinE is marching across the map with a very solid Terran force. Tanks, Marines, the 2 Ravens, the Viking control, and even going to have Stim for this push.
Yeah, HeRoMaRinE is just looking very powerful, and Once again, a big advantage for one of these players. Already at the 7-minute mark. Can he turn it into something more? HeRoMaRinE has the Viking advantage. It's 3 versus 4 right there on our screen. And there's more Vikings popping out for both sides. That could change at almost any moment.
Okay, I was worried that Stim was actually in range of those tanks. It is!
Losing the reactor. He's going to lose the Viking at war, and he's going to lose Stim. Command Center gets out of there. Auto turret's going down. Yeah, HeRoMaRinE very intelligently says, let's make sure you don't push me back from this position. Not yet, not till the tech lab's gone, not till that starport is burning and forced to lift.
That's an amazing delivery there from HeRoMaRinE, who's still going to be feeling more and more confident in this game. He has his Stim. He could be working on combat shields, but he's currently just microing and trying to produce as many Vikings as possible. He is still getting that 1-1. Tanks actually not firing back at Dreams, so Dream managed to take one of those tanks out of the equation, but the Ravens, the high ground, actually going for the auto turrets, try and get revenge. Don't quite find Dream's tank, and HeRoMaRinE has lost that air control.
Indeed. You know, definitely a nice little engage there at the tail end of that hold for Dream. Hangs on for now. If we take a look actually at HeRoMaRinE's production, you can notice that he actually built most of his buildings further back from the ledge, so he was a little bit more aware of this. You often see like Beyond on this map build his buildings right on the very far edge of the base, and a few other players. So I do like that more players are being aware of that. Okay, starport's always going to be on the reactor. That's a bummer if that's exposed, but losing Stim as well, that's something that could have been avoided if Dream had taken a few more safety precautions.
Exactly. Was hoping he would never have to be in a position where he was the one defending. You know, from the very get-go, he was the one going for the aggressive attack, and it just completely failed. So he is the one defending. He is the one regretting his tech lab placement, and he's trying to recover. But HeRoMaRinE not only having faster Stim and combat shields, finishing with 20 seconds here, he also already has 5 barracks worth of production pumping from reactors. So his supply has really skyrocketed. A single interference matrix might do the trick as HeRoMaRinE sieges up his own tanks, pulls back from the tank fire of his opponent, but then just into the natural. The SCVs are completely defenseless.
Yeah, that natural is getting ransacked right now. HeRoMaRinE in the driver's seat of this game, and he's going pedal to the metal. He's like, oh, wait, you still don't have a tank up on your high ground covering this natural? The Vikings come in as well. The SCV's forced to mass repair that. That just puts them in front of those Marines. The command center goes down. More SCVs fall as well, and HeRoMaRinE taking a big advantage and turning it into a winning position.
Hard to see how Dream brings it back from here. Vikings even landing on his remaining tanks. They're going to be able to take out every last one. Dream has a little bit of a hit squad going into HeRoMaRinE's natural, and that's, I guess, what he's depending on to bring back the game. But HeRoMaRinE has more than enough. Dream is going to lose game 2, and HeRoMaRinE has brought it back to a tied score.
Indeed, and that is a very decisive couple of maps there from both players. Neither one really getting a chance to recover from the early damage they took. So definitely a scenario here where I was hoping for a bit more back and forth Terran versus Terran positioning, but instead it's like brutal early game interactions are deciding both of these maps.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. It's just whoever gets the early game Reaper Hellion War victory apparently wins the overall game, which, you know, certainly can give them a little bit of a lead, and they're used to that, but it definitely doesn't determine it to such the extent as these past 2 games. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to happen again, because it absolutely could happen in game 3, but I think we both kind of don't want it to happen. We want to see what these two can do in that mid to late game TVT, who can adapt to the late game TVT scenario a bit better. That's where things really get good. But that Reaper bop in the middle of Lightshade is actually one of those moments in StarCraft 2 that feels so rare, where as a fan watching it, I had to hold myself back from going, oh, you know, like the escalation is just, that was an amazing little bop in the middle.
I didn't hold myself back. I was just making excited noises while you were doing some actual commentary. So it's good to have a true professional by my side to help me carry through those moments.
Totally, dude. You're welcome. I'm here for you, Pig. That was fun. And, you know, especially in a smaller map like Lightshade, those early moments are also going to be even more determining factors for how the rest of the game goes. Small maps can really swing that momentum back and forth pretty heavily. But actually, I don't remember what the third map is. I'm hoping it's something a little bit bigger. Going to give us another chance for that really cool TVT. Both of these players, I mean, they desperately want the maps and they desperately want the actual score. Apparently it is Jagannatha for the next map. So we are going to get a bigger, maybe more grand scale TVT. I hope so.
I definitely would love to see it. A map that sees a lot of movement through the middle areas. You got high ground, low ground dynamics, site blockers, destructible rocks, and speedy zones all in one map. So one which I do love to see a bit of action in. Both players are looking really serious there on those camera shots. And a little bit of a cough there into the arm from Big Game. But yeah, I think definitely we're going to be seeing hopefully something not as extreme as that third command center from game one for HeRoMaRinE. I think one of his best build orders is just some form of fast expand. And I think on Jagannatha, he might actually feel confident doing just a 1-Rax expand, you know, get 3 Marines out after the Reaper, get a bunker on the low ground. It's a very cookie cutter, very straightforward. But I think if he does that, you can kind of expect Dream to be one who's probably going to open up 2 or 3 Reapers with a couple Hellions. Probably going to go medevac out of the starport first, and he's going to kind of bring the fight to you. And I've seen HeRoMaRinE, when he expects a player to play like that, gets a Viking first out of his starport, an early Cyclone, has a bunker at the front. We can see him take an awesome lead. So that's personally what I'm hoping for as a big Gabe fan. We'll see what he brings out. Representing Mouse Sports in the top right-hand side in the blue, it's HeRoMaRinE.
And in the bottom left, as the Red Terran repping GGG. EGG? His Dream. GGG.
And a good games and good StarCraft indeed. It's going to be the Barracks Gas opening there for both players. And we're keeping our eyes on it because in the next couple of seconds, they choose whether to put a second gas down or not. And HeRoMaRinE does, and so does Dream. So similar matchup of openings to that last map. Both of them are going to be getting an early factory out and then going into a little bit of extra tech units for safety. Command centers should be going down about the 2-minute 20 mark. And it's kind of the in-between, right? There's the very aggressive, full-on gas, bam, you know, barracks factory starport. We could see that out of this, but usually it's an expansion pretty quickly.
I always love listening to you talk, Pig, you know, because I'm like, yeah, I hope it's like a macro game and there's like explosions and stuff. And you're like, I'm hoping for this very specific build. And what's going to happen is that 1-minute 20, they're both going to get command centers. And at 3 minutes, the Reapers are going to combat. And then I really want Dream to go for a medevac build into some harassment. And I'm just like, yeah, 10. yeah, for fun.
Make big booms. Make some big booms for us, guys. Come on. If we could actually see Dream's gas, I know he's pulled one off one geyser. Did he pull off the second gas geyser? So same gas mining matchup as last game. So could be 2 Reapers out of the reactor again for Dream, whereas HeRoMaRinE, he pulled those workers off a little bit quicker. So it does have a bit more minerals, just a little bit less gas.
You know, you did bring up the medevac as we saw last game. You know, Dream tried to apply the pressure after already being behind, but yeah, I would be a little surprised for a entire, 3 games of TVT not to have something really focused on medevac pressure, since it has come into play so much, especially amongst the Korean Terrans, but pretty much everywhere. The 1 medevac, 1 tank push drop, whatever you want to call it, becoming fairly popular. On maps like Oxide, though, not necessarily this map, but yeah, I'm with you. I think that Dream's going to be applying the pressure. He certainly is with his opener already going into the reactor Reapers again, and then we'll see what he does with that starport. But Jagannatha, if you actually go through the actual middle of the map, use the acceleration zones, is not so much slower than even Lightshade, so you can actually kind of boost yourself over quick enough and try and do some significant damage. But I think more so than that, you're just hoping to find your opponent a little underguarded. For HeRoMaRinE, he's got Marines on the way, and I believe a Widowmine did just pop out, so that sometimes is very sneaky.
Yeah, Widowmine's good beginnings to some defense here. As the tech lab goes down on the factory and the starport there, Marines building 2 at a time now for HeRoMaRinE. It's definitely in a more defensive stance. 3 Reapers and 2 Hellions working their way across the map here for Dream.
Oh, nice eyes.
And he's gonna, wow, takes one for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it still takes out a Reaper, which is really important in this early game stage. But the Woodbine does fall. What does HeRoMaRinE have left over? Is Reaper not quite dying, finally gets picked off. Ooh. That's one Hellion left alive for HeRoMaRinE. He wants the Reaper, he wants the Hellion, he wants something, finds Dream's Hellion, goes after the Reaper, goes after the second Hellion. This is very bold. It's actually turned around him in that first game, but it seems to be all right this time around.
Yeah, that was... I definitely could see the shade of that first game coming out in my mind's eye, and I was very worried that HeRoMaRinE was going to overchase, but in the end, I think he's okay with that trade. It's you know, not the super cleanest, but it's okay. He holds on, and here comes the push. Is that a tank or a Cyclone?
Yeah.
It's a tank. Ooh.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. 3 TBTs. I thought this would happen. It is happening again. I mean, Dream didn't work out so well last game. It is so similar to last game, in fact, that I'm wondering if HeRoMaRinE already has a tank on the high ground. He does see the medevac flying in. It's a Cyclone there. Instead, it doesn't get a lock on. Yeah, not on the medevac anyways. So it's broken pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. I was talking about how if you expect some heavy aggression, you get a Viking out. It's not too bad. The Raven has to throw down the auto turret, and some of these units go down. The siege tank on the high ground will end up defending this, but definitely Dream looking for some action. As the dust settles, I think it was acceptable. It didn't feel like it went massively one player's way.
Right, yeah, that's the best way to put it. I mean, HeRoMaRinE ends up being up 2 SCVs, and Dream's medevac, I mean, it has potential, is kind of the scariest thing about it, although it runs right into a Cyclone that was on purpose, maybe? The Cyclones, yeah, HeRoMaRinE Cyclone dies for it, can actually take out that medevac, but the Marines are on top of this little tiny push. The Cyclone of Dream trying to get a Raven, it's a little bit bold. Auto turrets coming down from the Ravens, look after the medevac, and the Cyclone didn't find neither one. Are you kidding?
Oh my gosh. 3 hit point Cyclone, 1 hit point medevac, just barely getting out of dodge. HeRoMaRinE's got to be a little annoyed at that, just teasing him. Those units getting just out of there as they both go to a third command center. Does feel like a few more minerals around as the second and third barracks is quicker here for HeRoMaRinE, but the worker count's very even, and it feels like for once, finally, hey, we were wishing for a close game. 6 minutes in, it's looking pretty tied.
Pretty close, pretty close. HeRoMaRinE still with a slight worker advantage, a getting more and more significant stim advantage, maybe ahead about 20-30 seconds. And then I guess the army perfectly tied up as they both set out maybe some Raven harassment. HeRoMaRiNE's sharking around for Dream. It's very, very bold Raven. Yeah, both going into very, very similar stuff. So it's all about this next push. Tanks and Ravens coming forward first for Dream. HeRoMaRinE already with some units prepared for this, though. He just needs to make sure to track it correctly.
Yeah, those units can kind of rotate around, especially through the speedy zone, very quickly. But it can be a little scary defending that front third base just because of that. But you want to take the front third because that way you're defending your main base at the same time. Dream here rotates to the left side, scanning to see where those siege tanks are. Doesn't reveal his army just yet. HeRoMaRinE doesn't seem to realize.
And that one tank isn't really something to defend with interference. Magic's taking that out pretty quickly. Gets one shot and then is taken out. And now HeRoMaRinE is caught in a very awkward scenario. His Vikings are here, and he certainly has the lead there. They take out the medevac. His tanks come on forward as well. Auto turrets being thrown out from HeRoMaRinE, looking to actually crack this before it gets too bad. And it seems like that is going to happen as the Vikings land. They would clean up Dream's tanks. HeRoMaRinE also still with plenty of Vikings left over, could chase down Dream's rallying reinforcements. That was a pretty good hold. It looked like it was going to get awkward, but HeRoMaRinE is totally fun.
Yeah, HeRoMaRinE actually had the better army by far, but Dream just caught him completely off guard. So I think if Dream's army was just a little bit better there, HeRoMaRinE would have massively struggled. But as it was, they both wipe out each other's Ravens, so we lose that technical part of the army on both sides. And yeah, it seems like they're you know, same worker count, same bases. HeRoMaRiNE's ahead on the barracks for sure. His barracks count's just up faster, his reactors are up faster. But because the upgrades came down so fast for Dream, he does have a lead on the 1-1.
Pretty significant one too. I guess the stim did finish, right? We didn't miss that at all, but combat shields is going to be later for Dream. So it says Marines better in some ways. Yep, there's combat shields finally started. Definitely need those combat shields actually done. HeRoMaRiNE has about a 10 army supply lead, looking to use it as he moves across the map, scans Dream's third base, sees tanks actually unsieging, decides to head on over there. Viking War in the sky, Dream actually desperately trying to hold his third, pulls the SCVs into the tanks, and they are going to go down very slowly to SCVs, I tell you what, but I guess eventually they are going to go down.
You know what? The SCVs, yeah, they didn't actually take any tank shots. HeRoMaRinE was focusing on the siege tanks of Dream, so he did trade out the technical units for each other. But part of me wishes he'd clicked on those SCVs right when they were pulling and just said, hey, get a volley on those while they're clumped up. 2-3 siege tank shots on clumped up SCVs can kill about 15 of them almost instantly. So HeRoMaRinE may be missing an opportunity there.
Maybe indeed. It's always comical when the SCV surround. It works kind of perfectly too. You know, it only loses 3 SCVs and they can go back to mining, because we always think of worker pools as so desperate, but sometimes they're just absolutely perfect to use in certain scenarios, and that was one of them. So Dream, now finally finishing up his combat shields, is going to lose out on the upgrade lead, so everything is really quite even. HeRoMaRinE finds a little bit of a corner off to the third, but it's more of a distraction perhaps for this drop into the natural and into the main. Dream forced to split his army a little ways every direction, and the Marines in the main base now going to rack up those kills.
I didn't even think he thought this would survive. HeRoMaRiNE's just macroing and doing other things right now. He didn't even stim these Marines in the main. And he's like, oh, cool, they're actually still alive. Let's see if we can get that medevac out of there. It will go down, but some lovely damage for HeRoMaRinE, just coming in with a few small little pinprick armies. You know, the single tank siege below that third, the Marines dropping on the high ground, taking out the gas geyser. He's now moving in. He's looking for that 4th base. Dream built that on location, but he hasn't actually got any units out there guarding it. Dream's map control is lacking right now.
Oh no, his control of his main base is lacking right now as the other medevac that had been accompanying the tank actually goes into the main base. We have an attack on Dream's 4th base. It's not finished, and actually Dream is totally unprepared. His tanks are unsieged, and HeRoMaRiNE's Marines are actually jumping on top of both of them, focus firing them down. Get one, not quite the second, and the third of Dream is going to hold the line. But HeRoMaRiNE is now up 50 supply.
Just kill the 4th base, bro. don't get over eager. Just finish that one off. That's dead weight there. And he does get the cancel on it. HeRoMaRiNE with a nice siege up location. Up 50 supply, looking poised to win this game. We've talked about how important this game is. This is the 3rd match of the group here, or the 4th one actually, I believe, right? It's really important. Dream needs to win to have a chance to get through. If HeRoMaRiNE wins this map, he is almost certainly out of the groups.
Here comes the last fatal blow, I believe. HeRoMaRiNE has so many Marines, he just simply stims on forward, nothing to stop him, and Dream's chances in this group are going down the drain. He is not going to be able to win this fight, even with the SCV pool. The Marines will simply slaughter them. Dream, so desperately wanting to win this game, is down almost 100 supply, still not tapping out. He's thinking of any possible way he could recover, but there just isn't one.
HeRoMaRiNE really stepping it up today, defeating Trap in his first match of the day. HeRoMaRiNE looking to go to that 3-1 scoreline, and what a way to do it. A decisive victory there, a big smile